It is Sunday, the 8th of July 2018. I'm just starting up my alternative spiritual practice of protesting against Unitarian Universalist clergy abuse, which includes a certain amount of sexual abuse of children. And then, of course, there's the fact that the Unitarian Universalist religious community covers up and even just plain denies clergy abuse in general and sexual abuse of children in particular. And I'm not saying that the Unitarian Universalist religion denies all clergy abuse. It's not possible for them to do so now because there's so many documented cases of clergy abuse in general. But what they do is basically minimize how much there is, minimize how serious it is. But one thing they do officially deny is sexual abuse of children. So the Unitarian Universalist Association is guilty of going to extreme and foolish lengths to try and keep sexual abuse of children by Unitarian Universalist ministers and Unitarian Universalist Sunday school teachers covered up and hidden from the public as much as it possibly can. But it also officially denied any sexual abuse of children by Unitarian Universalist ministers in what was supposed to be an official UUA board apology to victims of clergy sexual misconduct. In June of 2014, so just over 4 years ago now, UUA moderator Jim Key slipped a expedient and inadequate, and I believe completely insincere, official apology to victims of clergy sexual misconduct into his first moderator's report to a Unitarian Universalist Association General Assembly. And in this utterly worthless apology, in my view, because it basically minimized everything and contained outright lies, Jim Key said the following words: "There were no incidents of abuse of children or elders in my investigations." So what Jim Key said in this apology is that he had personally investigated clergy sexual misconduct, and in his own personal investigation of clergy sexual misconduct committed by Unitarian Universalist ministers, he found zero evidence of any sexual abuse of children. This is basically an outright lie. It's a brazen, bald-faced lie. I personally told Jim Key about several cases where Unitarian Universalist ministers had been charged, tried, and convicted of the sexual abuse of children. Perhaps most notably, Reverend Mac Wallace Mitchell being charged, tried, and convicted of the forcible rape and indeed the unnatural rape of teenage Tibetan refugees who he had lured away from their families in India with promises of a better life in America. So the rapes began when these teenage Tibetan refugees were 16 years old or so. In one case, they went on for years. The one basically who finally escaped and filed a complaint didn't escape until she was in her early 20s. So she was repeatedly raped from the time she was 16 years old until she was in her early 20s. Then there are other cases where Unitarian Universalist ministers have been charged, tried, and convicted of the molestation of very young children, essentially what's known as pedophilia, sexual abuse of preteen children. And again, these are cases where ministers were charged, tried, and convicted and sentenced to jail terms. And Jim Key knew about this because I personally told him about this in communications with him, you know, basically months prior to his brazen, bald-faced lie about there being no evidence of sexual abuse of children in his worthless apology. So that's outright official denial from the highest levels of the Unitarian Universalist Association of sexual abuse of children. Just prior to starting up the protests, a woman came by. I didn't have my camera running. I wish I did. Because she saw me, she saw the chalk slogan, she saw my picket signs, and she basically said, okay, so you're exposing the truth to the public and so on. And I said, yes, that's what I'm doing. And before leaving, she said, they must be real assholes. He was talking about, anyone in the Unitarian Universalist church that hides sexual abuse of children. Well, I have to agree with her. I certainly would say that UUA moderator James See No Evil Key was a real asshole when he brazenly lied about sexual abuse of children in what was supposed to be an apology to victims of clergy sexual misconduct. It takes a real asshole to do something like that. But it doesn't end there. I would say that UUA President, Reverend Dr. Peter Morales, and UUA Executive Vice President, Kathleen K. Montgomery, and Reverend Dr. Victoria Weinstein, amongst other Unitarian Universalist Association leaders and or Unitarian Universalist Association clergy, were real assholes when they hired Stikeman Elliott Barristers and Solicitors litigation lawyer to falsely accuse me of violating Canada's blasphemy law in Unitarian Universalist Association legal bullying, which was intended to cover up and deny what Stikeman Elliott Barristers and Solicitors defamation lawyer, Maitre Marc-Andre Coulombe, who could be described as a real asshole, called such despicable crimes as pedophilia and rape. Those are the exact words he used. He said, your unfounded and vicious allegations to the effect ministers of the association engage in such despicable crimes as pedophilia and rape are defamatory. And then he went on to say that these allegedly unfounded and vicious allegations, which were in fact very well founded in fact, and not particularly vicious, constituted the criminal act of blasphemous libel, which carries a 2-year jail term maximum if you're convicted of it. So he's basically threatening to have me charged with the criminal act of blasphemous libel, which could mean sitting in jail for up to 2 years if you're convicted, in an effort to intimidate me into deleting, memory holding, the Emerson Avenger blog post that told the readily verifiable truth about such despicable crimes as pedophilia and rape committed by Reverend Mac Wallace Mitchell and Reverend Dr. Victoria Weinstein's First Parish Norwell parishioner, Richard Buell. So yeah, real assholes as far as I'm concerned, falsely accused me of violating Canada's blasphemy law in immoral and unethical and indeed borderline criminal legal bullying. And I say borderline criminal because making a false report to the police is a crime. It's a form of public mischief, and it's clearly, spelled out in the Canadian Criminal Code. So if the Unitarian Universalist Association had actually gone to the SPVM and filed a criminal complaint against me, accusing me of violating Canada's blasphemy law for allegedly making unfounded and vicious allegations to the effect that ministers of the association engage in such despicable crimes as pedophilia and rape, well, that would have been a false report to the police, because my blog posts were by no means unfounded. They were very well founded on newspaper reports about Reverend Mac Wallace Mitchell and Richard Buell of First Parish Norwell being charged, tried, and convicted of forcible rape of teenagers and even preteen girls. Because in the case of Richard Buell, his victims that he was convicted of raping were no older than 12 years old at the times that the rapes took place, and by some estimates could have been as young as 6 years old, certainly somewhere between 9 and 12 years old. So yeah, real assholes, I would say, in terms of not only trying to cover up and hide the sexual abuse of children, but real assholes in the way they went about doing it. I mean, it's total assholery on the part of UUA leaders like Jim Key to brazenly lie about sexual abuse of children, and effectively the false accusations that good day that the Unitarian Universalist Association brought against me in 2012. June 1st of 2012 was when I first received an email from Maitre Marc-André Coulombe, which had a PDF file of the cease and desist demand letter that I was later served with by a bailiff. You know, this is just outrageous assholery to you know, misuse a blasphemy law to try and hide pedophilia and rape. So anyhow, unfortunately I didn't record that because I just finished writing some chalk slogans. My camera wasn't running when this incident took place, this interaction took place. But you know, you can take my word for it. I got plenty of video of other interactions, so there's no reason for me to fabricate anything. It's not the first time someone's referred to Montreal Unitarians or Unitarian Universalists more generally as real assholes in terms of some of the incredibly stupid and immoral and unethical things that they do. So we're just displaying the picket signs here. It's been very quiet. There have been very few members of the church arriving so far. Looks like there might be one there now. But essentially, leave that sign alone. Leave those signs alone.
I spoke with the police. It's not legal for you to put things
No,
off
you're wrong.
of. No, you're not. It's not legal.
It is perfectly legal.
It's not.
Yes, it is.
This is private property.
No, it's not. Give my signs back. I will have you charged with theft if you take them.
Sir, I spoke with the police.
I spoke with the police dozens of times.
I spoke with them too.
Call them and get them to come here. They can take my signs away. Call the police. Did you do your research yet? Did you do your research yet? What?
Do you find this aggressive?
Yes, I do.
Are you trying to educate me? Are you trying to teach me something? Are you really concerned?
Have you done your research yet?
About the well-being of people?
Are you?
Are you?
Are you?
I'm asking you. You're the one.
No, I'm asking you
this.
because you
coming to my
weeks ago.
church.
No, weeks ago.
You're
weeks
the one
ago.
doing this.
Yeah,
You
and
think
weeks.
This is a service.
Yes, it is a service to the public. Yes, and weeks ago. Have you looked into my allegations? Yes, I have. Yes, in fact, yes, I had a member of the public said that Unitarians are real assholes for.
Hundreds of people.
Yeah, Unitarians. Yeah.
Really feel sick to their stomachs.
You know what they should be
saying? Living a spiritual life.
You're not living a spiritual. It's not a spiritual life when you turn blind eyes to sexual abuse of children and the cover up and denial. Have you done your research yet? You said you were going to research. You said you were going to research. Did you do it?
I didn't promise you anything.
Oh, you didn't promise? You said it was serious. You said it was serious.
Let's go stand over here and yell at each other.
No, we'll stand right here.
Stand right in front of the front fucking door? What's wrong with you, man?
Oh, you're throwing my picket signs in the street. Oh, look, how convenient. Unitarian Universalists misuse blasphemy law to cover up in pedophilia rape.
You're a provocative shithead. You are a provocative shithead.
Oh, you
Yeah.
stuck your face in my camera,
Yeah.
just like Jim Horan. Oh, and you spit in it. Well, he didn't do that. Oh, lovely. You are a gigantic hypocrite. A gigantic hypocrite, because if you did your research, you'd realize everything I'm saying is true, and if you're a real Unitarian Universalist, you'd actually do something about it. But thanks for spitting on my lens. You're going to look really good on YouTube. Be my guest. Take all the photos you want. Take all the video you want.
I'm not videotaping. I'm calling the cops.
Oh, good. Call them.
I'm calling
I'm sure they'll be thrilled to have another complaint from the Unitarian Church of Montreal from someone who doesn't know what they're talking about.
They told me to call.
Good, call them. Good, call them. In the meantime, I'm going to go and...
Hello, I would like to complain about a protester in front of the Unitarian Church at Beaumer and Maisonneuve, please. He's harassing me as I try to walk into my church.
I'm harassing you.
I have talked to someone there before, and they have informed me that I should call the police. Bulmer, B-U-L-M-E-R. Yes, he is harassing me as I try to enter my church. How old are you?
How old are you?
How old are you? The police are asking me how old you are. He's laughing. I'm here. I'm entering my church and he's assaulting me with his signs and yelling at me. So I'm not doing anything but being harassed. And I've been advised by the police the thing to do is to call. So that's what I'm doing. Thank you. Thank you. I'll stay right here waiting for them.
Righty.
Yes, he's still here. He's been here for years. No, it's a Unitarian church, the Unitarian Church of Montreal. He's been here for years. Laughing at people. That's what's so strange, he's laughing.
If you're an idiot, I'll laugh at you. It's that simple. If you're a fool, I'll laugh at you.
You know, I'm going to hang up. I'll stand out here until the